Hey guys, what's up? This is Panzer Dragon. So this video will be an analysis of the new Quill coat and Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and my opinion plus how I feel about the new item, and how I feel it affects certain champions and whatnot. I want to be going really in depth on this new item, and also I think you guys are thinking, does this make tank junglers viable right now? And of course that question will be answered in the end of this video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get started. Alright, so first off, let's start talking about the new item Quill coat and Spirit of the Ancient Golem. First I want to be discussing the clear times. Alright, so in my opinion, it doesn't really change that much from the Spirit Stone. It feels relatively the same clear speeds early on, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think you regain more health and mana in the first few levels from 1 to level 7, I'm thinking. But after level 7, I'm thinking for most champions, the clear speeds do get a bit slower than a Spirit item, just because their skills have been ranked up more, thus having more damage for the Spirit item to give the bonus 20% or 30% damage from it. And if you are a jungler who has decently high clear speeds, then it kinda is a nerf for you to get this item, as you would probably want the old Spirit of the Ancient Golem in terms of clear speed. An example of this is Elise. I noticed that her clear speeds later on in the game, after a few levels, do get slower with the new Spirit of the Ancient Golem. I feel that her clear speeds have been reduced by about 1 or 2 seconds, not that much, but you can tell it does take a bit longer than usual. And I can kind of feel it later on in the game, like mid-game, where my clear times are slower, but not that much. Now again, it seems like it was kind of a nerf for clear times for the big high damage junglers, but junglers who have really slow clear times, like, a perfect example would be Leona. Her clear times have significantly improved, as now she can rely on an item that just takes down the enemies for her. And so, final verdict, if you're a jungler who has really bad clear times, it definitely helps you a lot. But if you're a jungler who can get camps done quickly, then it kinda is a hit to you. But honestly, it probably doesn't really matter, as you'll only jungle with smite up usually. Like honestly, in my games, I can feel that it's a bit slower, but I don't really care. I'm usually doing something else on the map and it usually doesn't bother me. But this still does take a hit to power farm junglers, someone like Udyr, if you ever gone the Spirit of Ancient Golem route. I would definitely not recommend you getting that, since his base damage is kinda high and he benefits off the restoration better from the Spirit Stone, and a 20%/30% increase to his damage is better for clearing camps. And if you are a jungler with really fast clear times, you won't really make use of the passive that much, since it is damage over 3 seconds and you'll probably clear the camps faster than 3 seconds. Alright, so next I want to be talking about the stats that the Quill coat gives and the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Alright, so like I said earlier, the clear times early game are vaguely the same as, say, another Spirit item, and let's compare Quill coat to Spirit Stone. So Spirit Stone actually never gave any stats, but the Quill coat, that gives 20 armor and a ward. And so you are gaining a lot from the Quill coat, as it's probably the best of the 3 items, Madred's Razor and Spirit Stone, since you basically have the active of a Wriggle's Lantern, which does cost 1800 gold or whatever, and now you get that active for 700 gold. So honestly, this Quill coat is really strong early levels, since it also helps you in the jungle. This is also encouraging level 6 junglers like Nautilus to help get vision for their team so they don't get ganked by, say, a Lee Sin, who is an early game jungler, and I think they're just trying to make sure that you can get the mid game, late game without the game snowballing by an early game jungler. So yes, the Quill coat is actually a really strong item since it does give you a ward and 20 armor. Now moving on to the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so what are we getting from this item? First of all, we're getting 200 health, 20 armor, a Wriggle's Lantern active, and 25% bonus health. Now it's actually 250 health instead of 200 health because of the passive, and I want to compare with the old Spirit of the Ancient Golem. So the difference with the old Spirit of the Ancient Golem is that it gave 100 more health than this one, and it gave you faster clears depending on what champion you were. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about Elise, Udyr, and I guess Amumu. And last thing that was removed was the tenacity. So the health thing, that actually got buffed. Early game, not really, but as you go into the game, you get more health items, so it does scale. So you do get more gold worth efficient stats later in the game, as you do get more health items. And so having deprived 100 health isn't really a big deal. And the clear speed thing, yes, that is a nerf, but usually it's only going to be an extended 2 seconds longer to do the camp, and usually right after you do that camp you just want to get rid of your conservative stacks and then help your team. So it's not really that bad. And then they removed the tenacity passive, which is worth like 200 gold. And so you're actually forced to buy Merc Dreads most of the time, which is honestly not that big of a deal. And so if we look at it this way, we do get 20 armor, we do get a free word, which is actually worth a lot after about like 20 minutes or something, and we get a scaling passive that makes us tankier later in the game. So I do think it is a slight buff to Spirit of the Ancient Golem, but a nerf to its early game. And now I kind of want to be elaborating on the passive. So again, it does increase your bonus health by 25%, and so this raises further questions like, Warmogs, is that viable now? Alright, so there's a lot of cons to this path and some pros, so I wouldn't say it's the most efficient build to go, but anyways, the build is Warmogs plus Thornmail. Once you get both of those items, you become a threat to AD carries, as now if they focus you, well guess what, you are going to kill them. And now that Randuin's has been nerfed, and I don't think it was as good as it was before, and so now I'm just trying to find alternatives like Frozen Heart and Thornmail to counter AD carries now. It honestly is really effective once you get both of the items, but of course there are a lot of cons that come with this path. So first off is building Warmogs straight up after your Spirit of the Ancient Golem and whatever boots. So you're really only getting a lot of hit point, but you're not really getting any resists, and so people will be doing a lot of damage to you. And also, since Blade of Ruin King kinda got buffed with the auto attacks, they're gonna be chunking you for more damage. And so that's why this path isn't really that efficient. Second off, getting both items is really expensive. It costs about like 5,000 or more gold to get, and so like the only time I will actually get it is if I am really ahead. Randuin's is actually more efficient if you're behind, since you don't have enough hit point or armor to supply for the AD carry. And of course Frozen Heart too. And the fix to this is to say going Giant's Belt and then Chain Vest and then finishing one item after that. But probably the most effective build will probably be just going standard, like, you know, Randuin's or Frozen Heart, or even a Sunfire Cape. You still make use of the bonus health, so, you know, just go complete standard. I still don't think Warmogs is a viable item right now. Unless you scale really hard with health, then that's the only time you'll actually go that item. Alright, so moving on to the last question. Are tank junglers viable now? In my opinion, they are still not. Even though the Spirit of Ancient Golem does help those guys with slow clears like Nautilus or Sujani, it's not the problem with the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, it's the champion themselves. Recently, the only tank jungler that's actually becoming very viable is Skarner, a tank jungler who is a level 6 jungler, which means that when you hit level 6, that's the only time you're good at ganking. And the reason he's so good right now is because of his stats. They improved it, buffed it, and now he's a viable jungler to play in ranked games. And I even heard Maokai is a really good jungler right now. And what did they do to him recently? Yes, he's still a tank, but they also recently improved his stats and basically gave him a buff. And so I'm just thinking they don't need to make new items to make tank junglers viable. They just have to increase the buffs on those junglers who aren't really played in the LCS or high elo. So let's clarify this. Tank junglers like Sujani are still probably not going to be played, and junglers with fast clear times like Vi, Jarvan, who have a lot of base damage, should not go the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. It's still only going to be good for people who don't really scale with AD or AP, and just people in general with bad clear times. Anyways, that's my analysis of the Spirit of the Ancient Golem and tank junglers. Hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below on whatever questions you might have about, you know, this video. And for the first few days, I'll try and answer your questions. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.